Hey everyone, and welcome to Comics from the Future. This is our show where we bring you some of the most exciting upcoming comics that you can pre-order. Like always, your pre-orders are due on Sunday by 9 o'clock if you shop with us. If you shop with a different store, check with your store when their cutoff date is. But yep, we're going to go over some really cool stuff this time. So, I'm Andy.
I'm Matt.
We're here with Infinity Flux Comics out of Chattanooga, Tennessee. And I think this is a very interesting show because there is no DC on
Yeah.
this show because we had a double DC last time.
Right. And I'm loving DC right now, so I was a little bit bummed to see that
Yeah.
there's not. But there's still some really good stuff that I'm really, really excited
And
about.
it gives us a chance to spotlight maybe some stuff that we wouldn't
Yeah.
have got to talk about too much before if there was a bunch of DC number ones. So let's get into this week's new comics, starting with our featured comics.
So the first up is God's Number One. This is the new book from Jonathan Hickman with art by Valerio Schiti. Hate to say it, we don't know a lot about this one, and we have both like researched, tried to find articles, read solicitations, all kinds of stuff, and we don't know the details of the story yet. We do know that this is basically Jonathan Hickman's attempt to reinvent the cosmic side of the Marvel universe, and I'm not talking about like the Guardians of the Galaxy and Silver Surfer. I'm talking about like the big dogs, like Eternity, Infinity, the Living Tribunal. Maybe the Celestials will be in there somewhere, but we're talking about like high level celestial beings. The whole it makes me think like it's almost like a new management, right? Like I don't really know, but we're getting all these new characters. The character on the cover here, his name's Win. So we don't quite know too much yet about what exactly is going to happen. We do know that this is going to be like a kind of like some kind of battle or struggle between two different factions. There's the powers that be and the natural order of things. Those are the names, the powers that be, and then the natural order of things. They're going to kind of face off, but we don't know in what capacity. We don't know what that's going to look like yet. We do know that Doctor Strange is going to be involved. Um, there's something about old acquaintances are reuniting during a Babylon event, which is, from what I could gather, some kind of special but rare, like cosmic event that is going to play havoc with the universe, basically. So I know we're being kind of vague, but there's just not a lot out there. We read solicitations. The solicitations for the first 4 issues of this are available, and I think it's a miniseries.
Yeah.
And they don't tell you anything. Like it's almost like trying to solve a riddle. Like it's very cryptic. So we don't really know what the story is going to be like, but it's going to be very heavily focused on the cosmic side of the Marvel universe. And like I said, it's going to reshape how all of that stuff works. So I think it's really interesting, though. You can actually, the first few pages of, I believe, the first issue are available online, like preview pages, so you can go read. The art looks great. I really like the way it looks. So just a new kind of, I don't know if I'd call it an event in the typical sense, but a new big story that's going to be happening in Marvel over the next few months. So we'll wait and see how it goes. We'll definitely be talking about it on our Monday preview show whenever that comes out. I don't remember the release date for this, but yeah, I'm excited for it just because I just want to see what it is, right? And Hickman, he's pretty good.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting because that level of being in the Marvel universe is kind of impersonal. Eternity, Living Tribunal, they're very like people of few words type thing. And these feel more like your traditional Marvel characters that have personalities and stuff. So I don't know if that's maybe a way of like, hey, how can we work in a little more personality into these beings? But I want to see like if that's the case of these coming to maybe replace the other ones, or like how do you face off against? How do these characters go up against Eternity?
Yeah,
and
is
stuff like
Wynn going to fight against the Living Tribunal? Who knows? I don't know.
Punch him in his 3 faces.
Right. But so anyway, more to come on this, but we do want to at least highlight and let you know that it's coming. So we have here our A cover. We've also got a Peach Momoko cover. That's one of the other new characters. I don't remember her name. And we have a really cool Scottie Young. That's Momoko.
There's the
the EJIKURE. The second one was the EJIKURE. Sorry, I skipped one. And then the Peach Momoko, and then the really cool Scottie Young variant. And I love this. he's talking to Win. Hey, are you Doctor Strange? And he says no, and he asks him all these questions about Doctor Strange, and Win's like, well, yeah, I do that and that and that. And he's like, okay, Doctor Strange.
Yeah.
This is great. I love that one.
Okay, next up we have a new book from Dark Horse. So, like we said, there's no DC, so we get
Mhm.
to highlight some other books, and I'm really excited about this one. So, this is The Midnight Show. This is by Cullen Bunn and Brian Hurt. If you don't recognize those names, you probably recognize maybe Cullen Bunn because he's
Oh yeah,
done everything out there. But this is the creative team that was on the Oni book from years ago, Six Gun, which is an awesome
yeah.
supernatural, almost
Western,
fantasy western.
right?
There's like snake people
Yeah,
that are also cowboys, and you got to collect these six guns, and they all each have magic powers. It was super cool.
yeah.
But this team, when they come together, does really awesome things. They also did the book Manor Black, but this is a new one that is set. It seems like in the real world in a small town. Uh, and in the past, there was a famous kind of classic horror movie actor, Basil Saxon, who's kind of got like a Bela Lugosi or something like that. And he vanished during a freak accident on the set of this movie that is now considered cursed. It was never shown, anything like that. Well, this small town, I think it's like a film festival or something, gets a hold of some of that original footage and shows it. And of course, bad stuff happens when this unleashes uh, classic movie monsters to wreak havoc on the town. So it sounds really fun. It's just a mini series, but I like this idea of this feels like a very 80s movie of
Yeah.
like, oh no, monsters came out of the movie and are now, going across the town. But a group of misfits must come together to send the monsters back from where they came. So, sounds really cool. Horror in a small town, classic movie monsters, and a great creative team. So, I'm very excited about this. I've already subscribed to this. I know it's going to be a fun ride. This is our A cover for that. We also have our Brereton there. You can see some of the monsters on there. You got your classic Wolfman.
Yeah.
You've got
Dracula.
Dracula. You've got like a swamp monster. Just really fun looks on that one. And we also have a Francavilla cover with the monsters coming out of the film reel.
I love Francavilla doing horror stuff. It's awesome.
Yeah, so good. So you got a Dracula, a swamp monster, and a Frankenstein there. Just great. Bill Crabtree doing the colors, same colors from Six Guns. So I'm all on board.
All right, so next is Edenwood. This is the new creator-owned book written and drawn by Tony Daniel. When we talked about this on Wednesday, I had trouble talking about it because there's a lot of information to this book, and I had trouble fitting that into like 10 seconds. So I can speak a little bit more about it here. So this is about these multiversal wars between demons and witches that have lasted for eons that have finally made their way to Earth. So there's battle raging now on Earth between demons and witches. There's a place called Necronema, which is a demonic land that supplanted the Midwest 20 years ago. They're going to go up against Edenwood, which is the witchcraft controlled land that acts as a barrier against the war zone and the rest of the US. So already lots of world building going on,
Yeah.
right? So there is a young demon hunter named Rion or Rion. It's Rion. I'm not really sure the pronunciation. We'll say Rion for now. He becomes a hero and a leader after he defeats a demon called the Gather. So he's like, known throughout the lands now. Well, he is summoned by the Witch War Council to assemble a team of other demon hunters tasked with taking out targets in the demon-controlled land. So again, it's witches versus demons. The witches hire this guy to assemble a team to then go take out the demons, I guess. And the people that he selects are some of the most famous demon hunters, dating all the way back to the 1700s. So I don't know if it's going to be like if it's going to use like heroes from classic mythology and
Yeah.
lore, that kind of thing, but I mean, it sounds cool. Like I said, there's a lot to this, but it's basically just a big war between two factions, and then this guy you can see on the cover, he gets kind of caught in the middle of it, and he's going to work for one side, taking out the other side. So it sounds very high fantasy, action packed. I like Tony Daniel's art a lot. He's been working a lot with Scott Snyder lately on Noctera, which has been great. So I'm excited to see him do the art and the writing for this. So should be pretty cool. I'm excited. This is our A cover by Tony Daniel. We also have the Muhammad Asrar variant, and then we have a Jorge Molina variant as well. So I guess that must maybe be one of the Demon Hunters. I'm not
Yeah.
sure.
Okay, next up, it's the return of She-Hulk in the sensational She-Hulk. So if you enjoyed the last series, just the straight up She-Hulk, I know I did.
Hmm.
We
I
loved it
loved it.
around here.
Loved it.
It is basically continuing. So this is by the previous team of Rainbow Rowell and Andres Genolet. That was kind of, I believe he was the artist on kind of the final story
Yeah, like
arc.
the back
So
half.
moving forward into this series, and it basically builds off of what was in the previous one. So we have returning characters like Jack of Hearts, Patsy Walker, expanding their story. But I was reading some interviews with this, and Rainbow Rowell really talked about like this is a celebration of She-Hulk book. You know, in the beginning, she was definitely kind of trying to find her way,
Hmm.
getting her job back, being an attorney, all of this stuff. Well, this is going to be like she's firing on all
Yeah.
cylinders here. This is the sensational She-Hulk. She's got her life pretty much together, other than, of course, villains and all that kind of stuff. But you're seeing her at her prime. It's also heavily inspired by the sensational She-Hulk by John Byrne. So you're going to get a lot of that humor, a lot of the, She-Hulk books are as much about the action as they are just like Jen Walters'
Yeah. Like,
life.
what's she doing?
Yeah, which is, I mean, that's She-Hulk to me.
Yeah.
Is that? And this is actually going to have backup stories in it as well, uh, with writer Jessica Gao, who was the scriptwriter on the TV show.
That's right. Okay.
So it's going to have kind of two stories in it. I'm very excited to see what those are going to be. But yeah, I'm just very excited about this. I love the original one. I was very sad when we were like, is it ending?
Yeah.
But it's big relaunch with a new number one, and I think it's still going to be a great jumping on point as well. So we've got some fantastic covers for this. This is, of course, our Jen Bartel A cover. She did all the A covers in the previous
Mhm.
series, and I think that's continuing with this. We have this amazing Adam Hughes variant, and this is actually a foil variant as well. This one is definitely going to sell out. I mean, no doubt there.
And I will buy them all.
Yeah, yeah, it's because they are all going home with
Right.
me. We also have this at a GRANOV cover, very reminiscent of
Wasn't that the Dan Slott
that was the Dan
run? Like
Slott
the first
run.
issue of that? Somewhere around there.
We also have
Like
this
this.
LEIRIX variant where
Breaking the
she's
fourth wall.
yeah. Wait till you get to the Scotty Young and you'll really
Okay.
see.
Oh.
Then very interesting, we have the Lucas Werneck Stormbreakers variant with a zombie She-Hulk. We have this is the MIRKA and ANDOLFO new champions variant. We talking about a bunch of these, but I think based on the success of Spider Boy, they're like, what if all these other characters had
Yeah.
hidden sidekicks that we never knew about? So they're not. We're not going to get stories, at least as far as we know about these characters, but they're kind of what ifs.
Yeah, it's just like concepts on covers for
Yeah.
now, not actual characters yet. You know?
Yet. And then we have a Ryan Gonzalez variant and the Scotty Young.
Yep, this is a breaking the fourth wall joke. You're welcome.
Yep. Yeah, that's so every time she's punching something or whatever, it's like, yeah, we get it. It's
Yeah.
breaking the fourth wall.
All right, so next is Operation Sunshine #1. This is a new book from Dark Horse. This is so the writers of this, Henry Zabrowski and Marcus Parks, they're the hosts of the last podcast on the left. This one sounds really cool. This one's described as Near Dark meets Ocean's 11. So there's a group of young alienated vampires known as bugs. Well, they plot to steal a magical object from an ancient monstrous vampire to turn themselves back into humans. So they want to go back to being human, but on their journey to do this, they uncover a sprawling monster underground. They encounter elite militant vampire slayers and madness beyond imagining. So it sounds like a really fun, action-packed vampires meets heist meets who knows what else. But it sounds really cool. And everything we're talking about here, most of it comes out around beginning to middle of October. So this is just exactly the kind of stuff that I want to read in October. So, another really fun vampire book. Really excited for this one. So this is our A cover here. We also have the Aja variant. We have a Christian Ward variant, and then we have a Jones FOC variant.
It's very creepy.
Yeah.
Okay, next up, it's the return of Star Wars: The High Republic. So I think on our Monday show, I said this was a one shot. It's actually a mini series. I did not realize that. I think it's 3, 4 issues, something like that. This is Star Wars: The High Republic: Shadows of Starlight, and was Starlight Beacon. It was this kind of symbol of the expansion of the Republic into the unknown regions. It was a lighthouse, basically.
I remember that.
Yeah.
Like the very beginning, like the original High Republic from 2 or 3 years ago.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Destroyed.
Oh.
And it basically, like, with it brought kind of this new threat to the galaxy that is the Nile. In this one, this actually, because we had Phase 2 that just wrapped up, Phase 2 actually went back about 150 years before. This is returning to that Phase 1 timeline. This is set in the year after the fall of the Starlight Beacon. And it is basically Yoda has because now they know that the Nile, who are these kind of marauders, are a real threat. He calls all of the Jedi who are out in the different corners of the galaxy back home to basically start a state of emergency. That, hey, this is now a legitimate threat we've got to do. But it does say that it's going to require Yoda touching the dark side, and this will have grave consequences. So, what is it about this that makes Yoda like, I gotta tap into something a little bit darker? I'm not sure, but now that I know that it's a mini series, I'm excited to see how that's going to play out. Also, it's going to basically show you who lived and who died, because it was kind of iffy. There were some missing people at the end of that first wave of books. So I'm excited about it. This is also written by Charles Soule, who's one of the main uh, figureheads of the High Republic books. So very excited about this. Very excited to get back to some of these characters that we grew to love during the first phase. And yeah, this is our A cover, and we also have a Lee Garbett variant as well with a very forlorn Yoda.
Yeah, he's sleeping.
Sleeping, standing up.
All right, so next up is this year's Ghost Rider Annual. Again, coming out sometime in October, I think. So perfect time to be reading this. Story details on this are a little bit light, but we do know that Ghost Rider is going to team up with Elsa Bloodstone to take on the Hood, which you can see there on the cover, to try to stop whatever his plans are, or stop his plans on Halloween specifically. But what I'm most excited about is this says it lays the foundation for the future of Ghost Rider. So, this he's had a new series now for a little over a year. And I guess in this annual, we're gonna find out what's coming next for him. So it's been really fun so far. I'm glad that Ghost Rider's back and back in the limelight at least a little bit again. So we have this a cover here, and we also have a Greg Land variant as well.
And next up, you actually talked about this one on our last show, but I just had to take it over because I think this looks awesome.
Oh, yeah.
So this is Saturday Morning Adventures Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles Halloween Special #1. It's actually going to be a double-sized book. I believe it's $6.99. And of course, in the Saturday Morning Adventures universe, this is kind of in the original cartoon
Right.
feel and style of that Ninja Turtle show. So in this, a mysterious being is going to be challenging the turtles' bravery and sending them through a nightmarish gauntlet. So I'm very excited to see about this. I imagine it's going to have some of those, like, what scares each turtle.
Right.
It's going to, they're going to have to
It's almost
face
like
their
the
fears.
Turtles version of Night Terrors.
Yeah.
Where they have to face their own fear.
Yeah, I wonder if there's a little bit of an influence there. But it sounds really cool because it's a double-sized issue. There is a backup story where Shredder is going to be calling up the ghost of someone to gain knowledge about a powerful weapon that he wants to reforge. But it's one of those classics, don't call up what you can't put back down.
Be careful what you wish for.
Yeah, and he's going to have to deal with that as well. So it's cool. We got one story about the heroes, one story about the villain, and all that fun Halloween goodness. So this is our A cover. And it didn't have the artist listed, so you can maybe look those up. That one's really fun.
Yeah.
With this is your C cover, and they're all trick or treating is some were classic references, like Cowboy Leonardo was an old
Oh
toy.
right.
Um,
Dracula
Mikey,
Mike.
Dracula Mike.
Yeah.
It's I don't know if it's in poor taste that Raphael is dressed up like Shredder. It feels like that's like Luke dressing up as Vader. It's like I don't know if that's a good idea. So
Why not?
this one is super cool though. This design variant.
All right, so we have another new number one from Vault. This is called Unnatural Order. This is a combination of dark fantasy and action-packed sci-fi. So this sounds like it runs the gamut of genres, basically. So after the fall of the Britons and the Roman invasion of Hibernia, a captive known only as the Druid is released, sending darkness out into the world. It says an age of horrors, fire, and entrails. So that sounds not so great.
No,
You're walking down the
would love that, but
yeah.
no one else.
You're walking down the street and there's just entrails hanging from the trees. That sounds weird. But those who resist learn of the existence of a man who even the druid fears. But he's a soldier from a different time who knows that this is not how the world is supposed to be. So I'm guessing that's him on the cover right there. This man from a different time who knows how to defeat the druid when nobody else does. So just another really cool kind of spooky sounding book for perfect for spooky season. So this should be really cool as well. And this is the only cover.
Yeah. There's the only cover. There's some incentives as
Okay,
well, but
it's
just
the
the
only
main
one.
cover's the one. Okay, and next is other number ones. But before we get to that, we wanted to remind you to head over to infinityflux.net right now, where you can pre-order these books we are talking about. Everything that you pre-order, you get 10% off of. You can also subscribe to series, become one of our valued customers and Pullbox members. And yeah, you can subscribe to variants, the A covers, any of that. And like we said, everything you pre-order, you get 10% off of. But wait, there's more. You can use the code I love Flux at checkout and get 10% off your first order. So if you are pre-ordering and this is your first order, you do get the two 10% offs on that order. So that's a great deal. And just to show our appreciation for watching the shows, all of that, we beseech you this 10% off. Use it wisely. Okay, next we are moving on, like I said, to other number ones. So these are just more number ones. They were just not featured, but maybe you care about them just as much. Starting with Alien Annual number one. So this is part of the kind of second run of Alien that we have by Declan Shalvey, and this one sounds really cool because the way they said it's like xenomorph versus xenomorph,
Okay.
but the like description didn't say that. But I have a feeling I could kind of suss it out. So, an alien colony descends on a dark planet, but what do the xenomorphs do when the native life fights back? And I have a feeling the native life is also
The xenomorphs.
gonna get maybe infected by the
Oh,
xenomorphs. So maybe we're
okay.
gonna start getting maybe the mantis alien, the gorilla alien, or something like that. It sounds fun, more just alien on alien action. And it's also a standalone story. So if
Yeah.
you haven't read any of it, but you think it sounds cool, check this one out. We've got our A cover here. We have a Daniel Warren
Ooh.
Johnson variant, which I would love to see his entire
Oh,
take
for
on the
sure.
Alien. And we
Oh,
have
I like
a
that too.
Marco Maestrazzo variant as well, which is very creepy.
All right. So next is a book called Hellicious. This is from Massive, right? From
Yep.
yeah. So this sounds good. So this is actually a soon to be going to be an animated series soon, starring Anthony Kiedis of the Red Hot Chili Peppers. So that sounds pretty neat. So, and this is about a little girl. You can see her on the cover. Her name's Cherry. She's the devil's prankster granddaughter. She loves her home in hell, I'm presuming, but she is lonely. The only soul who she thinks will be a good playmate is the front man from a Satan worshiping death metal band named Briggy Bundy. All right, so maybe they could be buddies. The only problem is he's not dead yet, so he's still up here in the living world. So this is going to be about her, I guess, her quest to get him as a friend, and how does she do that if he's still alive? We'll have to wait to find out. There are some preview pages of this on Previews World if you want to go take an advanced look at what this is all about. But it seems like it's really fun. Another fun spooky book coming out in October. So just a lot of these, which I love reading this kind of stuff in October. So it sounds like a lot of fun though. It sounds like a little bit of humor, a
Mhm.
little bit of mischievousness going on. So we have our A cover here. We also have our Wallace foil edition, and then we have a
I love the cake on that one. It's like, I don't know what's
I
going
don't
on.
know. I guess you're gonna eat me. And then we have a Richardson video game homage, very nice Castlevania
Yeah.
homage. I like that.
And next up, there's a lot of hell in this episode.
Yeah.
This is Howie the Hellhound from Scout Comics, and this is by Jared Prestwich. And this sounded really fun. So, the devil's favorite dog, like his best buddy dog, escapes into uh, Earth realm, I guess, using Mortal Kombat terminology, and winds up in New York, where a human named Lewis takes him in and befriends this hellhound. But the devil loves his dog and is going to send legions of hellions up there to get his dog back. And where does but really, where does the dog want to be?
Where does he want to be?
I don't know. We're gonna have to find out.
Yeah.
Maybe he doesn't like it down there and he
Yeah.
wants a new home. We'll have to find out. But it sounds fun. It says it is a dramedy and heartfelt, and I can see that.
Yeah.
So this is our A cover for that, and we also have the Butch Mappa variant.
Yikes.
Looks like a sweet, sweet boy.
Yep. All right, so next we have Strange Academy, Amazing Spider-Man. So this is, even though this is going to be listed as a number one, this is actually the third part of a three-part story they told, starting in Strange Academy Miles Morales. Then there was Strange Academy Moon Knight, and then this is the conclusion to that three-part story, just about the kids from the Strange Academy going to Brooklyn to take part in a math contest. They compete against Miles Morales in the first one, but then they run afoul of this villain named the Equation. He's able to take out Miles Morales. He's able to take out Moon Knight. So now Peter Parker is going to come in and maybe try to help save the day. So if you've been reading the other two, definitely don't miss this one. The first one was a lot of fun. It was cool to see the Strange Academy kids and Miles Morales
Yeah.
sort of like mix it up together and fight off some mystical stuff. So we have our A cover here, and then we also have the Ramos, excuse me, connecting variant, and I guess this connects with the other two.
Yeah. Okay, next we have Space Usagi. So, not a whole lot of information about this, but I just think it's intriguing because the old toy, there was an old Space Usagi action figure, but it says that someone in the far future enjoys a tale of Usagi, as we see the return of a this famous Space Usagi universe. So it seems weird to be like, in the far future, they read a story from the past. Here's that story. You're like, well, then that just sounds like a normal Usagi story.
Sure.
But I'm guessing there's going to be some space
Yeah,
and
there's
some sci-fi thrown in there.
there's got to be
well.
something to extra to it.
Because anyone could be reading it.
Yeah.
Maybe who's reading it? Maybe it's Space Usagi reading about feudal Japan Usagi. I'm not sure, but of course this is written and drawn by Stan Sakai, who is just phenomenal. If you've never read Usagi, do yourself a favor and read it because it is just in a whole nother league. It is beautiful. So this is our A cover for that, and we have our Agnes Garboska variant for Space Usagi, which is just a one shot.
I like little Usagi. I like little kid Usagi.
Okay, next up we have notable number 2s and 3s. I think there's even a number 4 that snuck in here. But these are continuing series that maybe you've read the first one of, and you forgot to subscribe to the series. This is a good reminder, and just got a little tease about what is coming up.
So we definitely don't want you to forget about Conan the Barbarian, the new series from Titan Comics, because this is fantastic. Now, the solicitations don't really give any specifics about the story in this particular issue, kind of what happens, but we do know at the end of or during the second issue, which just came out this week, Conan and Brissa are following this big horde of undead soldiers, I guess. They want to know, they're laying waste to basically anything that gets in their path. They laid waste to a village in the first issue. They are thought to be already in Samaria. So Conan and Briss are trying to find out, where do they come from? Where are they going with with the bodies of a bunch of dead soldiers that they're dragging behind them? every now and then they stop and look up in the sky like they're waiting on something to speak to them.
Very creepy.
Yeah, and at the end of issue 2, Conan and Brissa see, well, they find something. So that's
The horde reaches their destination.
right. Yeah, there is. So this is just continuing that. So if you've been reading this, good job because it's awesome. Don't miss the third issue because it's just continuing the story. We don't know exactly what happens, but it doesn't matter because yeah, I'm sure it's going to be just as good as the first two. So we have our A cover here. We also have a Patrick Zurcher cover. We've got the Von Fafner cover, which actually looks really cool. The De La Torre cover, so that's your interior artist, and I love that looks like a classic. That's the one I'm gonna get
You
because
can slip that into a box of old
sure.
Marvel Conan, and
if you're flipping through them like that, you would never notice.
know.
Yeah, and then there is the this is the Conan #2 second print.
Yeah.
Yeah. If you missed the second one, because we mentioned read the second one before the third one.
Yeah.
If you missed it, here's your chance to get it again. So go into second print.
Okay, next up is Void Rivals. This is the number 4 I mentioned that slipped in here, but I feel like we're going to continue to talk about Void Rivals. There's certain books that we just like have to talk about that are exciting and kind of the most buzz around comic book stores, and Void Rivals is definitely high on that list. So Void Rivals number 4. Not a whole lot of information, but I feel like that's a very Kirkman thing to do. It's just like you'll read it, and I don't have to tell you what's going on. It does say the return to the sacred ring, even though they kind of did that in the previous one, where Derek and Salila, from their 2 warring factions, return together, and they're kind of like, no, we're friends now or whatever. But is that bond gonna hold? But of course, the big thing about this is it's in the Energon universe. We've seen hints of Transformers and Transformers adjacent things, but I did want to mention that this issue does have a incentive variant that is a 1 in 25 that is a spoiler variant. So that usually means we're going to see something big in this issue that they don't want to spoil, but we'll give it away when we finally see the cover. But it makes me think, we talked about it the other day, we got to be getting close to seeing something G.I. Joe related.
Maybe. Hopefully.
I mean, there's still plenty of Transformer stuff left to explore. But, I'm just excited every issue, not only for, what we're going to see next, but the continuing story of these characters that they've already established is really compelling.
Yeah, absolutely. Like, don't sleep on this. Like, there's only teeny tiny itty bitty nuggets of Transformer stuff in the first 3 issues that are already out. But the main story that doesn't have anything to do with Transformers or anything, it's still really, really good. Like, so don't sleep on this book. If you want to see just for the Transformer stuff, that's great. But pay attention to the story too, because it's fantastic.
We also have this Debarcado variant as well. So just very excited about this whole series. And pretty soon, we're getting into the October solicitations. Yep. We're going to be talking about Transformers #1, Duke #1, Cobra #1, all of those very soon.
Yep, it's coming. All right, so here is the second issue of The Schlub, written by Kenny Porter and Ryan Stegman. This is just continuing the first one. A failed dentist named Roger swapped bodies with the Earth's greatest hero named Cirrus. In this one, Roger, in his new superhero body, his body and ego are put to the test against a real-life supervillain, which in the first issue was that guy named Worm. Can Roger and Cirrus find a way to stop the evil sorcerer Worm, to prove to his family that he's not a screw-up, and stop the city from being destroyed? So just more fun craziness. The first issue was really, really fun, and this is, I'm sure, will be just the same. So we have our A cover here, and we have a Stegman variant.
Okay, next up, Masters of the Universe, Forge of Destiny. I really nerded out about this one. So issue #1 of this actually comes out this week. So I haven't read it yet, but I'm very excited about it. This is a prequel comic to the Netflix series, kind of telling it makes me think of like He-Man Year One.
Sure.
He's still kind of coming to terms with his abilities and, what does all of this mean? But in this one, Eternity is swarmed by Gar soldiers. So if you're not a big Masters of the Universe fan, it may not make any sense, but the people of Eternity are going to be attacked by Gar soldiers. the Gar is what Skeletor was. He was
Okay.
a half Gar. They basically have blue skin. Um, but if you notice on this cover, this is where I get really technical with it. It does say the Gar are attacking because I guess the Kingdom of Eternia attacked one of their people named Dash Shell, and that you can see him in the background. But he is also known, if you know the toys, as
Cyclone.
Cyclone.
Yeah.
Because you see his holographic
Yeah.
chest piece, and he always had blue skin. But I
Yep.
don't know if they ever really talked about that he was one of the Gar as
I never
well.
even thought about it.
So it's like, this is cool. We're getting like a super serious origin of Cyclone.
Yeah.
He's gotta put out his fists and spin around and
Right.
punch people. But that's just me nerding out about this one because I think this sounds really cool. He looks awesome on the cover, and I can't wait to read issue 1 this week. So this is our A cover for that. We also have our Tim Seeley variant. And we also have this Hardman variant. It's super cool with Snake Mountain in the background.
All right, so here is the second issue of Plot Holes, the new book from written and drawn by Sean Gordon Murphy. The story details on this issue in particular are, well, they're non-existent. It didn't really say much about what happens in this exact issue, but it's just continuing the story of this group of fictional characters who jump from book to book to book, fixing the stories inside those books that are caused mostly by bad writing. Just trying to set the worlds in those books right. We don't really know. The solicitation didn't tell us like maybe what kind of books they enter in this issue. But if you enjoyed the first one, definitely get this. This is gonna. Is this like a mini series?
Yeah, it's like I think maybe 5 issues.
Or 5? Yeah. Oh, it is. Yeah, 5. 2 of 5. So yeah, just if you like the first one, don't miss this second issue on Final Order Cutoff this weekend. So we have our A cover by Sean Gordon Murphy. We also have a Howl variant, a Klaus Janson homage variant to Punisher #1, and then a Wallace variant as well.
And next up, we've got cool covers. These are just super cool covers. We don't have a whole lot of information about them, but we got to show them off.
Yeah, they're cool covers
because they're cool. If the segment says it, I can't fight that.
Yeah.
Starting with Captain Marvel Dark Tempest #4. This is going to be a 5-issue miniseries, so this is kind of the penultimate issue. And this is a really nice Megan Hetrick cover.
All right, so this is Doctor Strange #8, continuing the story of Doctor Strange versus General Strange, which is a version of himself, but with 5,000 years of war experience, basically. It's a long story. But we have our awesome A cover here, and then we also have the new Champions variant as well. So we mentioned it before. This isn't an actual character that exists in the books right now, just a concept for these covers, but maybe it'll show up one day.
Yeah. And we have Immortal X-Men #16. Just a super cool Apocalypse variant, or this is actually the A cover by Mark Brooks. And also, there wasn't a whole lot about in the solicitation. It was just like, when you think things are bad, guess what? They can get worse. You're like, well, yeah, Apocalypse can be there with a Phoenix Force.
Yep.
We also have this
nice.
really cool variant for this. This is the Vesnemeyer variant, which we're just getting real close to the X-Men 97 TV show coming up real soon.
All right. So this is Fantastic Four #12. And this sounds awesome. So I mean, our cover right here. This is our A cover from. No, this is the.
This is the A cover.
It is the A cover from Alex Ross. But this is about. There's another Earth that's starting to merge with our own, but except on that Earth, everybody's a dinosaur. And not like an anthropomorphic dinosaur, like an actual big dinosaur. So just real quick, so in this we get Sue versus a Brachiosaurus Iron Man. We get Johnny versus a Lambiosaurus Captain Marvel, and we get Reed versus a Quetzalcoatlus Black Widow. And you can see like there's a Thor dinosaur on the like it's wacky, zany, just like this whole series has been. So the Alex Ross cover here is really cool, but we also have a new Champions variant featuring, I guess the mythical sidekick of the Thing, and then the Frank Miller variant as well.
Yeah, so when I was putting the show together, I originally didn't have the A cover in there, and then I stopped and looked at it. I was like, oh no, I got to include the A cover because it has Dinosaur Adventures on it.
Sure, Dinosaur Avengers.
Drawn by Alex Ross, which like super realistic and
We
serious.
just had the Jurassic League,
Yeah.
over at DC, and now we've got Dinosaur Avengers.
Okay, next up we got a couple of Star Wars books. So starting off, we have Star Wars Bounty Hunters number 39. This is a Dark Droids tie-in. And in this one, Valence, who is our kind of main bounty hunter in this, has been turned into a mindless killing machine. So can the rest of the team get him back? But these, of course, are the variants. So we've got our Lucasfilm 40th anniversary cover. We're getting real close to the end of these because we're getting close to the end of the movie and all of this. We also have this fantastic, I'm definitely getting this one. This is the Clone Wars 15th anniversary cover featuring Captain Rex. And then next we do have Star Wars Darth Vader, number 39. And it does tease in this one, who does Vader hate more than anyone else in the galaxy? I have a couple of ideas. Either the Emperor or himself. But this is our Lucasfilm 15th anniversary cover with Hondo and Naka. Super cool. And we have the Lucasfilm 40th anniversary cover for this one.
All right, so next is X-Men 27, and I don't think we have the A cover in here,
No.
but that matches perfectly with the solicitation because it does say the enemies of the X-Men seem to have this fight all sewn up, and on the A cover, Cyclops has his eyes sewn shut,
Yeah.
which is very creepy. But we also have some other awesome covers. This is the Mark Brooks quarter box variant. He's been doing several of these over the last few months.
I think this is the kind of Grant
Grant
Morrison
Morrison
time with
era,
Zorn.
yeah, with Zorn. We also have the Martin Coccolo Stormbreakers variant, and then the Paulo Rivera X-Men 60th anniversary variant, which is really cool.
Yeah,
it's
he
like
combined all
yeah,
of
he like
them.
squished it into one image. Had to move some characters around so it wouldn't be so wide. But where's Magneto on
That's
that?
about to
Though?
say the only thing is there's no Magneto.
It needs to be like a gatefold where it swings out and there's Magneto.
Okay, next up we have other printings and graphic novels. These are reprintings of really popular issues that maybe you missed on, or maybe you're trying to collect them all. Gotta catch them all. And some graphic novels that we think are super cool. So, starting with The Immortal Thor #1 second printing. You just covered this
A couple weeks
couple
ago.
weeks ago,
Yeah,
and really liked it.
I
And
loved
so
it.
I believe we sold out of at least all the A covers are, so we may have some variants left, but I think a lot of people are really jazzed about the new Immortal Thor. So if you missed it, pick up this reprint of #1.
And it is really, really good. Like I'm not a usual like Thor reader month to month. I might go back and read it later, but this one was so good. I really liked it. All right, so this one is Moon Knight versus Werewolf by Night. This is, they've done this before. They branded it Marvel Tales, and it's a collection of reprints featuring stories with these characters. So it didn't specifically say that it collects Werewolf by Night 32 and 33, but it did mention Moon Knight's first appearance. So I think those issues are in there. Don't quite quote me on that, but it would be weird if they weren't,
Yeah.
right? But it also mentioned that it does collect Moon Knight, the series from like the early 80s, number 29 and 30. And then Solo Avengers #3 featuring Moon Knight, and then Mark Spector Moon Knight number 52 and 53. So a bunch of different Moon Knight stories in there. Some of those including a Werewolf by Night. I didn't get the price on this one, but yeah.
Usually, I think they're like $7.99.
Yeah,
And they usually only have one cover.
that's
and
right.
This one does too. Next up is a graphic novel. We talked about this on the short show, but I think this sounds awesome. So this is called Four Gathered on Christmas Eve. It's a hardcover from Dark Horse. It is written by Eric Powell, and the art is done by Mike Mignola, Becky Cloonan, James Heron, and Eric Powell. And it is your classic Christmas horror stories. But this time, there's going to be four stories, one by each of the creative teams, but where the creators themselves become part of the story. So I want to see. I really wish it was Mike Mignola teamed up with Hellboy.
Yeah.
But I don't think it's. I think they're going to be kind of original stories and everything. But featuring those writers, and these are such great creative team on this that I can't wait to see it. So yeah, this actually ships December 20th.
Oh.
So, but we have to get our orders in very
Okay.
early for this. And I believe it is $24.99.
All right, so next is the Alien trade paperback. This is volume 1, collecting the first 5 issues of, I think, this most recent Alien series. So if you've been waiting to read that, here is the first collection of that, and this one is going to be $19.99.
And this one is super cool.
Yep.
So this is Spider-Man, Volume 2, Who is Spider-Boy? But I include this too because, like, even if you didn't read the first volume, I'm pretty sure you could just read this one.
Absolutely.
If You know, this is gonna be, mark my words, this is gonna be reprinted later as Spider-Boy Volume Zero.
Probably.
This thing they did that with Spider-Man Ghost Spider. They redid her like uh Edge of the Spider-Verse, but they did it as an issue 0. They're gonna do something like that with this. So this collects issues 8 through 11 of the Adjectiveless Spider-Man, which was the first appearances of Spider-Boy, and them kind of slowly uncovering more of his backstory. And it is going to be $15.99. And I just recommend everybody read this.
Oh, for sure. And I do wonder if they include maybe like the last couple pages for Spider-Man number 7 when he actually pops up, because that's the only thing I kind of feel like is missing.
Yeah.
If that's not in here, because
literally 2 pages.
Yeah, it's 2 pages, but it does sort of explain like where he came from, you know, where he's been.
Maybe it'll have a recap page at the beginning.
Hope so.
That's going to show those.
And then this is one I'm really excited about. This is the X-Men Grand Design Trilogy trade paperback. So this collects the X-Men Grand Design 1 through 2, X-Men Grand Design Second Genesis 1 through 2, and X-Men Grand Design Extinction 1 through 2. Those books are great. We just last year, I think, had HULTT Grand Design, which these Grand Design books are just a really cool way to learn the history of these characters. I think there was X-Men first. There was a Hulk one last year. I think there was a Fantastic Four, I believe. And it's almost like a Cliff's Notes version of the history of these characters, done really well. You know, highlighting some of the biggest moments, some of the key moments from these characters. This one, there were 3, like I said, there were 3 different X-Men books, each of those 2 issues, and they're in here. So really, really excited for this because I missed out on it the first time. So I'm definitely getting this, and it is $39.99.
Yeah, and I know before they released it in a oversized, it was like really tall. I'm not sure if this is shrunk back down or what this if it's going to be like that, but yeah, these are very highly regarded.
Very much. They're great
retellings of the X-Men. Okay, and that is it for Comics from the Future. Thank you so much for watching. Hopefully you found some goodness in here that you are looking forward to reading. Maybe you learned a little something. I know I did. And yeah, remember to head over to infinityflux.net where you can pre-order these books right now. We will have a show coming out on Monday where we'll be covering some of the biggest books coming out next week that we know you'll want to hear about. And unless you have anything,
I'm good.
Okay, then. Well,
have a great Labor Day weekend, everybody.
Yes. Once again, that's why we didn't have any DC books on this because of that. But next show, we will be back to the DC. So thank you so much, and until next time.
See ya.